The Virtual Reality Classroom by Tiffany Pope, Michael Boyd, Anthony Rose, and David Glazer. Our goal in bringing this to you today is to truly open up the doors to what virtual reality could do in a traditional classroom as well as a modern classroom. And this is our presentation. Some of the things that we want to expose you to today is looking at our goals, some components, some setting up our venture, looking at curriculum, and maybe some possible field trips. Now, this is just a small section of what we're doing here. Tiffany is going to actually start talking about our hardware and what goes into this from a different perspective. I'm just going to give her just a few minutes here just to kind of show you where she's taking this. Now, once again, this is just a sneak peek, and I'll let Tiffany do the rest of the talking.
Discussing how much VR headsets cost, describing 3 different VR headsets, and taking an assessment. So please pay attention. You cannot mention VR headsets without defining the term virtual reality. The Google Dictionary defines virtual reality as the computer-generated simulation of a 3-dimensional image or environment that can be interacted with in a seemingly real or physical way by a person using special electronic equipment, such as a helmet with a screen inside or goggles fitted with sensors. Some virtual reality environments do not require VR headsets, such as the ones listed below. A virtual reality headset is a device that is worn like goggles to see computer-generated simulation of a 3D image and environment. It blocks out external light and shows the image on high-definition screens. The earliest goals of the VR headset is to immerse someone in a game. This history is more of a timeline. In 1961, Headsight was the first VR helmet created by Chrome and Bion. This helmet had one screen attached to it with a tracking magnetic system. In 1965, Ultimate Display had a VR helmet with 2 screens that enabled the viewer to experience 3D images. This was created by Ivan Sutherland. In 1979, the McDonnell and Douglas Corporation integrated virtual reality into its head-mounted display. In 1980, Stereographics Company produced the StereoVision glasses. In 1985, VPL Research Incorporated was known as the first company to sell VR goggles and gloves. In 1991, Sega announced the Sega VR headset. It was not released until 1994. Also at that time, Victor Max introduced the CyberMax VR headset. There was a lot going on in 1994 because the Forte VFX1 was also released. It had stereoscopic displays, 3-axis head tracking, and stereo headphones.
Anthony's going to start talking a little bit about how to sign up and what this process really looks like. Remember, we're teaching teachers on how to get this set up in their classroom, so they may need some basics here. So I'll let Anthony kind of talk a little bit about this.
Okay, hello everyone. This is Anthony Rose. This is for 633. My group consists of myself, Miss Tiffany Pope, Mr. Michael Boyd, and Mr. David Glazer. Still not sure if I'm saying that right, but the 4 of us are working together as a group. So one of my contributions is initial setup for Second Life, and I'm just going to kind of walk through it, and I'm going to walk through, I guess, what you do in this virtual world. I'm new to virtual reality. I'm new to Second Life. I don't know anything about it, so bear with me. This ought to be fun. As you can see, I'm here at the home page. The address is right here, secondlife.com. There's options for language, for login, and for signing up. You can see there's people buying stuff. You know, you go down a little bit, you can explore it, learn about what it is. Apparently, this literally is like a second life. Education, which we're going to be focusing on. Eligible organizations receive 50% discount on virtual land. Kind of like a property tax break, I suppose. Virtual business. When I read this to my kids, they were all excited, thinking they're going to make millions. So naturally, I told them they're not allowed to sign up. But it's kind of interesting. People put a lot of time and effort into this. And you can see it looks super realistic. I'm just kidding, I know that's a picture. And then some typical stuff at the bottom of the page. So let's go back up. And I'll sign up for an account. Click on sign up. Okay, so one of the things, we live in kind of out in the middle of nowhere in central Texas, and we're forced to use satellite internet, so we might have to speed up the process during these wait times. Welcome to my life. Now my second life. Oh, so you can choose. This is how you initially appear. You can choose what you're going to look like. That's alarming. You can choose what you're going to look like. And that's even more alarming. I don't know what these dudes are hanging out. I guess the angel and the devil on the shoulder. What's my wife doing here? Oh. Not interested in being any of these characters. These are the only ones I can choose from. Oh, here we go.
The next thing we're going to talk a little bit about is what some curriculum may look like. Here's just a basic history thing about what starts a movement. Just kind of follow along and see where I'm taking this. Look at historical aspects of movements being in history and having a cause and a reason behind them. These are the objectives for that. Can you spot a cause worth fighting? Can you recruit? Can you support? Can you support them physically? So how does ocean awareness work? And as we see here, we see our virtual reality person looking around the world in which he lives in and how that applies. What we have here is simply this. We have something going on where he is actually going in to see what he can do to change the world in which he lives. So, virtual reality world is very vast, as well as our students should know that because the world in which they live in are very vast. We understand that we're dealing with 6th to 8th graders, but say this could actually be something to do in science. This could be something to do in history. So we're looking at the ocean from this point of view of the virtual reality world. You pose a question here. You think what can be changed, and then this takes place. So step one is really identifying what is going on. What is the source? Now, as with anything, whenever you identify your source or your cause, as in history, there's always a cause and there's always an effect. One of the things that we do in this is that in order to get this to be something of major consequence, what we do is we try to recruit. We recruit with a purpose. Now, with that purpose, and lastly, we have how some content can actually be applied. One of the things that virtual reality does is it allows you to take virtual field trips. So we have two different scenarios here. One is an actual virtual reality church, and another is a virtual reality field trip that deals with space-related themes.
Okay, so I am here in, I guess they call it Social Island, and I decided to check out the church. There's a church that Michael started on Second Life, so I'm going to check it out. I looked it up, Grace Baptist Church of Second Life. This one and this one both come up. I'm going to guess it's not the one that's mature. So here we go. Let's see. Oh, I can't get to this one. This one has a teleport thing. Alright, let's see what happens. I don't know what line harpoon but is. So far this is kind of interesting. I've been walking around, seen people just walking around, done a tutorial. This is hard for me because the internet's slow. And okay, hello everyone again. I'm back. This time I am taking kind of a virtual tour of the International Spaceflight Museum here on Second Life. You can get to it. It's pretty easy. Click on search. I typed in, all I did was type in museum and it was the first thing that came up. And then you go ahead and click on teleport and you just kind of show up on this island of spaceflight. So I just got here, all the textures loaded as far as I know. Again, bear with me, I've got pretty slow internet, so this ought to be entertaining. First thing right off the bat, I'm going to look at the warning. What's going on here? Just a reminder. Non-profit private museum. Okay. I won't do any vandalism.
And this concludes our presentation. I hope you've enjoyed.